Smoking is absolutely not permitted whenever airside from aircraft because the jet engines could suck in any debris and suffer significant damage.
It's going to set this down. I have no doubt. One other question. One of the things that when we visited Vancouver, they talked about the sense of place.
Yes.
Established that here.
Yes, it's very much injected. The carpet, when it starts rolling out, similar has colors that represent the sand, the sea. The floor tiles, actually the check-in hall, there'll be accent tiles of conch shells. Yeah, arts, we're actually commissioning $2 million for 11 pieces of art that'll come in the terminal. Subsequent stages. This one here will be planted with the pine trees. Suggestive of the old ideas for the check-in counters will be. Actually installing the baggage belts now, and they're beginning the tiles coming down the floor here. Driving past me, you can look down into the garden. And when people in the garden can walk up underneath the bridges to a glass wall right up the airside, look out and see the aircraft. There's something that a lot of airports have designed ever since they've tried to design back in. Walk through and it's here. It's pretty quiet in here today. That's not the lack of things. It's actually pretty good. Except for the baggage pile, it's right here. We don't create a queue, but you can accommodate that here again with the windows looking out to the garden outside for some visual interest and distraction. Big water feature right here. So every time we go vertically in the building, there's a stairway, an escalator, and an elevator. That's at every time there's a vertical move, so anybody can be accommodated. So being kind of barrier-free is a big design feature. In fact, I didn't point it out with the restroom. All the restrooms have a male and a female, and also a family or a handicap restroom attached to them. This will be in the middle. This will be a water feature. Water dropping down. There'll be planting in here as well. And sitting on the top of this will be the bronze Junkanoo figures, and then the floor by Nicole Sweden. And it'll be lit. There's fake lighting in the ceiling to light them up really nicely as well. This will be a feature of the terminal. As you arrive in, go upstairs and it's well to enjoy it when you're upstairs. Go ahead on up. Right on this note. I'll show
Firstly, let me thank you, the media, for being here with us, and to thank the representatives of YVRAS for enabling us to have what has been a confirmatory tour. And by that I mean that it is just a wonderful experience for those of us who sat in a cabinet room in 2007 to make the final decisions on who should manage this airport and who should have the charge of executing a vision for it. And so from the outset, let me say that it has been a pleasure for us to relive the vision and to see how, in fact, the execution of it has gone so well. It is important for me to make one political point, and that is that it is just a pity that politics in the Bahamas is so primitive to the point where unusual efforts are invariably made to separate those who conceived of the idea and put it into motion as if there is some gain. This is a project that the Bahamian people can be very, very proud of. And we, on our side, and I'm to my left is the minister who was responsible for aviation, to my right, the minister responsible for tourism. And I can tell you that when we made a decision to commence our research into how we would wish to go about expanding and renewing this airport, those two ministers with Idris Reed, Kiki Maracus, who was then chairman, went on a tour of airports managed by airport companies. And when they returned to brief their colleagues, they said that even though we were going through a formal process of selection, we have been very impressed by what we saw in Vancouver, where the management of the airport there had pre-clearance facilities comparable to those in the Bahamas. And in addition to which, the company YBRAS, which managed that, actually had put in place what we call a process of indigenizing the environs of the airport. And we thought now, the formal process took place and they were selected. We then entered into a 10-year management agreement. And again, that was a process where we had to consider the option of that they had asked for the privatization of the airport. In other words, being able to give shares in the airport ownership. And we elected instead not to do that, but instead to have them manage the airport and for the government of the Bahamas to retain the ownership of it. We thought it important also to note that we were embarked on an incredible expansion of the tourism industry with emphasis on this island. We had the third phase of the coastal development. We were negotiating the Bahama development. We had Ritz-Carlton for Rose Island, and we had Albany for the west. And we thought how exciting it was going to be in being able to get a world-class operator to enter into an agreement that is tied to world-class operating standards, because we use those expressions in our agreements to ensure that at the end of the process, this airport, in its operations, in its aesthetics, could compare favorably with any airport anywhere. And that was the interest, and we're so happy as a result of this tour to see that the vision is being executed in the way that we would have wished it to be. We move on to the point now where they are talking about the opening, the phases, the integration. And this is the point I think is important. When the minister commended this to her cabinet colleagues, she also saw the wisdom of having an operator like YVRAS who would be able to assist us as an archipelagic country in the development of our other airports. And so at all times we knew, right, that this required tremendous planning. It required sort of the kind of research and experience-driven decisions. And we thought the partnership that would ensue for the Bahamas would be an exceptional one, and one that we should take advantage of, and nothing has happened to diminish our views in that regard. So moving forward, we have a situation where the island of New Providence will have a premier airport. The rest of the Bahamas will have access to the advice and the model that is established here, and it augurs well for the future. This will impact mightily, as you've seen, on the receptivity of the image of the Bahamas in terms of people wanting to come here and people wanting to come back. And so clearly they have created an experience here. Hopefully that when you arrive in that experience, and when you leave, you have the last touches that will reflect your experience in the Bahamas. And so that is what's so pleasing to it. And clearly, if this is replicated as we move on throughout the Bahamas, then we're going to have a destination in the Bahamas that is a distinctive one, and that will be able to give a separate experience to each island, which has always been the philosophy of both governments. Having said all of that, I want to end also with the politics of it. This is clearly a project that the Progressive Liberal Party envisioned and left in place. It began when we came to power and had a disastrous experience with being briefing when they said that runway 1422, I think it is, 1432, was a disaster waiting to take place. And we had to therefore embark on making ready that for the kind of industry we have. And so truly, beginning with that experience and moving through the management agreement, the appointment, and where we are today, we are pleased. And from our point of view, as a political organization, we believe that when you look at the third phase of Turkey, when you look at Albany, when you look at this airport, when you look at anything that is happening in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas today, right, you not only see our footprint, you see our hands, both hands, holding a vision, okay, that embraces this country's development, and a vision that we hope in the very near future, and everything in politics is close, that we will have the opportunity again to enable the people of the Bahamas to benefit from the type of vision that we will bring to the further development of our country.
No, I just to follow from what our leader said, the airport was named the Lynden Pindling International Airport, and it is no accident that we named this airport after the first Prime Minister of this wonderful country, because this airport is meant to illustrate, exhibit, and exemplify the sort of importance of our economy and our archipelagic configuration. And so when we, as the leader indicated, went through the world really looking at airports, YVRAS had two important features. One was their adeptness with the pre-clearance, which we're one of the few countries in the world that has that. So it's very important for touristic product. And they had a very good rapport with the TSA and other American agencies, and we wanted to develop and enhance that.